Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a watch that launched in 2020, part of a new generation of Rolex's oldest sports watch. This is the Oyster Perpetual 126000. This is the OP36. The OP36, moreover, with candy pink lacquered dial. And yes, that is Rolex's term for it. In 904L stainless steel, this OP36 is, you guessed it, 36 millimeters in diameter, 11.6 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, it measures 43.5 millimeters in end link to end link. The total distance across the wrist is 45.3 with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll pop open the clasp here. We'll throw the watch on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. The OP36 is a perfectly sized watch for men and women. Traditionally at Rolex, 36 millimeter OP or Datejust or Date8 would be considered a man's size, but in the modern era, as men wear larger watches and women start wearing men's watches, the 36 has become perfectly suitable for him or for her. You can see with the domed bezel and the low profile, it slides easily underneath the cuff, and I would recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Now, the Oyster Perpetual family, which launched in 1933, turns 90 this year, and it really did create the archetype of the modern men's watch and the modern Rolex sports watch, really all sports watches, with a combination of the Oyster Perpetual water-resistant case that debuted in 1926. And in addition to the Oyster case, we have the Perpetual rotor winding system, so it is perpetually winding. Put them together, you get a water-resistant automatic steel sports watch. Now here, we have an integrated Oyster-style bracelet, 3 links, satin across the top, polished outer faces, removable links fixed by screws. There's a pronounced taper and an end link that conforms it to the case. The clasp has a little stamped recessed 5-point coronet rather than the raised and relieved one you'll find on more expensive models. But for the first time, the Oyster Perpetual features Easy Link, which is a tool-free 5mm snap-in, snap-out tool-free adjustment system. Previously, the OP did not have that. It previously only had a feature that is also included here. You can see that there are 3 sets of divots inside the clasp, and you can use your strap tool to dismount the spring bar and change the anchoring point of the bracelet inside the clasp. It is actually a lift lock system. You can see that the internal swing arm is no longer media blasted or rough. It's fully polished like the more expensive models. There's the beak. There's the hook. It's a lift lock spring-loaded system, so you actually have to lift it to unlock it. It's not friction fit. Now, Rolex has its own foundry. It makes its own cases, clasps, and bracelets. It makes its own alloy. It uses steel 904L, a high nickel content steel that is more resistant to corrosion in the face of some industrial acids, unlikely, but also salt from sweat or the sea. So you don't need to wear a special watch to go swimming, and you don't have to worry about rinsing when you're done, because with this watch, it will not suffer the periodic degradation that even 316 stainless steel will face when confronted with body salt and sea salt. This watch has an extra degree of protection. We have that little slash under the crown, which means twin lock crown in steel. It is a screw-down crown. The watch is 100 meters water resistant. It has an Oyster case back. We have a lovely tapered case profile. You could see handsome, not super case. We have a rounded top to bottom profile, and then a sweeping set of integrated lugs, polished in profile, satinated on their hoods. We have a domed bezel that evokes those first bubble backs, the original Oyster Perpetuals. The dial features a pink lacquer that Rolex calls candy pink, and then plenty of luminescence in the form of its proprietary Chromolite blue lume. Taking a look at the dial, the hands, the crown, as well as the indices are 18-karat white gold, so you know they won't oxidize or tarnish over time. The watch has one subsidiary setting function, that is the hacking seconds mode. The watch is also a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, but Rolex does more. Casing up the chronometer certified movement, it tests the assembled watch in 6 positions to make sure it runs no worse than -2 + 2 seconds per 24 hours. That is the superlative chronometer standard. It's a 31 jewel movement, caliber 3230. It beats away at 8 beats per second. It is a Rolex in-house movement right down to the lubricants and the shock protection, which Rolex calls Paraflex. So it is a very vertically integrated company, and this is a very in-house product. It has bidirectional winding with a rotor bearing rather than the older movement style jeweled staff, so it's more shock tolerant. And it has a 70-hour power reserve as a result. It has a full balance bridge anchored on both sides with a free sprung balance for shock tolerance. The free sprung balance also allowing for very precise adjustment. The watch uses a handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring that breathes concentrically with a very centered mass, so it doesn't run fast or slow depending on the position of the watch. And that overcoil is made of a blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy Rolex calls Parachrome that is extremely anti-magnetic. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.